Now, if you remember at the time, Google had been falling behind in the AI story. Their AI was not doing well. Their stock was at a 52-week low, and it dropped each and every day. And so I said, OK, let's try it out. Are you going to kill Google? That is essentially just a Google search. It's a Google search in a fancier way with more, articulation behind the scenes. But essentially, I'm just using AI as a search engine. The response was yes. ChatGPT was indexing very heavily on the fear and the current news stories. What I will tell you as a portfolio manager, I had seen this story many times before. I knew that they weren't going to kill Google. And that's really how many people are still using AI prompting. They're using it as a search engine. They're using it as, I could Google this, but let me just ask the AI. My second prompt, I had it review a friend's homemade bread. It was a focaccia in the style of Donald Trump and very harshly critique his bread. The ratings were terrible, and everybody knows it. Lightweight bread, fake news. That's Donald Trump before 2 p.m. 2 p.m. on a Saturday, folks. So it was a fun little party trick. And for 2024, that's all we thought AI was. That's all it could do. It couldn't do anything real.
You make it to Saturday Night Live with that kind of debut.
This is my audition, actually. So it was the toy era at this time. That was my first prompt. Play with the toy. And like many people, I think we used these AI models, and then what happened after that? We bounced right off them, right? It could make you some funny jokes. It could tell you some funny things, but it was really not the sort of thing that you were going to build a business on, not use in your workflows. It was just kind of the new thing to use. I used it, put it away. Then let's talk about the Spark. Earlier this year, I think around January of this year, Brother Omar sent me, he said, hey, Brett, there's this prompting course that's for free. It's Google's prompting course on Coursera. You can get 7 days free with this course. It's available to everyone in the room, and it will teach you how to prompt. Now, in the intervening 16 months, what I hadn't realized was, while I was away from AI, and I was dealing with it mainly in the stock market, but I really wasn't working with the tool on a day-to-day basis, the models had been climbing, and they had been climbing hard. And so as I did this prompt course, all of a sudden, now I had some training. Now I could actually use this tool. It went through, and it's a beautiful course. It's still there. Everyone can go and take it. But what it will do is it will teach you how to prompt and get the best of what these models can do out of them. That was the Spark. Just going to try a course. February 25th, 2026, that was the day it stopped being a toy to me. 2 years later, I came back. Tool that gave me a bread review was now ready to work. Let me show you my first project. I love that we talked about automating emails. That was my first project. So in our firm, this is project one, it's called the Daily Link. So let me tell you how our firm works. Right now, the way we monitor our portfolios, we have a process called the weekly market leak, which comes out Monday of every week. It's all of our portfolios, it's all of the performance, it's dropped in everybody's inbox. There's just one problem with that. There's just one problem with the leak. Sometimes the person that makes it gets sick. Sometimes the person that makes it, the numbers are inaccurate. There's some issues with the weekly market leak. Also, something can happen Monday, Tuesday, a Fed meeting, a war, you name it. Something can happen during the week, and then what happens? All your data is stale. So I went to Claude. I'm primarily developing Claude, and I said, okay, what would be better than a weekly leak? What about a daily? What about if we put all of our portfolios, teach them to the model, teach it how to pull performances, teach it to pull the latest news items from the day before, speak directly to our models, not just generic news, anyone reading a financial topic, but hey, we have positions A, B, C, and they're being affected by this. Put it all to Claude, 22 seconds. Claude got me back my daily. $20 a month is what Claude Pro costs. That service person that we have at Jaffe Tilchin is a full-time staff member, $50,000, $60,000 a year salary. One of their duties is to produce the weekly market leak. Claude was faster, better. All of a sudden, I'm going into PowerShell, and now it's automated on my computer, Windows Task Scheduler. It's dropping into our cloud services. We now have a daily leak. This was where I sort of realized this was my eureka moment. This is where it all came together for me. Here's what it meant to me, though. Live performance, numbers that were always right, the day's news filtered to our positions, formatted in a clean PDF, pushed firm-wide, autonomously. without me having to do anything ever again. I built it, it lives. It's got a life of its own. If you tried to do this in the non-AI era, what would it take? Well, you'd need an overnight portfolio group to calculate the numbers. You'd probably need some overnight research guy to kind of look at the news and then write little blurbs about how it affects our positions. You'd need overnight graphics because it pulls charts and everything else in. Now, firms have that capability. JP Morgan has that. When you talk to them, they've got they've got teams working around the globe and around the clock. I didn't have that. I have it now. And so what happened was the infrastructure for my operation went from a guy hanging out in a spreadsheet. Now all of a sudden, I have an automated assistant. I have automated processes. Here's the tagline. I don't know Python. I don't know PowerShell. We're the software engineers. They're going to hang me out to dry. Claude knows it, and Claude can put it together for me. Now, when you use AI outside of your discipline, it seems like it's an amazing tool. It comes in extremely confidently. It will, be very well sourced, but there's a problem with that. You don't know if it's good work or not. This was me asking a question about AI in my discipline, the thing that I have been doing for the last 20 years. At Jaffe Tilchin, I am basically the sole responsible person with the finger on the trigger for over $1 billion of capital. There's not many people like that in the world. So I gave it my stuff. I said, hey, what do you think? Now, I am supported by a research team, and I'll tell you the story of my research assistant. I have an understudy. She is my most expensive hire ever. She is the best hire ever. I am extremely pleased with her. Ivy League educated. We pulled her out of PwC. This is 150, 250K in total comp. This is a senior seasoned person. She has been my understudy for the last 5 years. I let Claude take a look at the portfolio, and I asked her for some feedback on my portfolio, just to kind of test them together. Well, Claude was better. Claude was better, faster, and on demand. It took maybe 2 minutes, and he had some very sharp insights for me. Some of the optimizations in our portfolios that Claude gave me are living in our book now. Not everything, though. I did get in some arguments with Claude, and we had a good back and forth. But that was the point where it was clear to me that something was changing here. Inside my discipline, my active daily flow, what we do, doing it in a different way. So what was the climb like? Well, in 1 year, the same tool, the same subscription. I didn't change anything other than knowing how to work the tool. We went from a Google search, is Google dead, to support staff, the daily leak, coming automated, to a senior analyst, out-reasoning my best tenured people. The same subscription. I didn't invest in any of those capabilities. Those capabilities were delivered to me because I was using the tool. So then finally, I gave it an interesting project. So I wanted to go beyond anything that the industry currently had. And so I wanted to create a Wall Street research desk on any stock on demand. I'll tell you how I did it. So as you go home and work with AI tools on your own, I'll give you, this is one of my little tools of the trade. I did what I called a nested prompt. I don't know if it has the term. That's the term I'm calling it. But what I did was I prompted to get the prompt. And what you have to do is, what you realize is when humans ask someone to do something, we're generally we're economizing the output. We're saying, hey, I want this, give me this. But LLMs and AI doesn't work like that. They have massive context windows. So the prompt that I built to build this research report is 17 pages long. So whenever I ask my AI to give me a research report, 17 pages of context gets loaded into the LLM. Now, there has never in your life been a time where you have asked someone to do something and you handed them a 17-page manual to do it, right? But using this nested prompting process, this is how I was able to get it out. We generate 35-page institutional grade reports on any ticker at any time. So I'll pick one that you're all familiar with. How about SpaceX? Anyone want to know how SpaceX is working? We don't have analyst coverage on SpaceX yet. There's the S1 and the IPO process. I've got a report on SpaceX. And this is where we get to the concept of edge. Now, this is finance guy speak for a second here, but let's talk about edge. My edge isn't Apple. If I run this report on Apple, it's not going to tell me anything that the street doesn't know, that a million other people don't know, because Apple is widely followed. However, The entire industry together only has so many analysts. And those analysts can only analyze so many companies. Most companies are unfollowed. Again, most companies are unfollowed. And for the companies that are followed, maybe they have one analyst. And is that a high quality analyst or a low quality analyst? Don't know. How often is he going to update his report? Once a year, once every 2 years? So there's tremendous amount of companies that are just locked away in kind of a financial backwater. I can generate fresh, deep coverage on any of them in minutes. So now we've gone from internal process, grading my own work. Now I can do something that the industry hasn't solved yet, just from learning this tool. I built the same engine for Tampa real estate. I am looking to buy a home. It will do traffic analysis. It will do neighborhood analysis from this same nested prompting part. Find the optimal house. My wife is tickled by this idea. So I'm on the board at Jaffe Tilchin. Here's what I told our board. I was like, guys, we may never need to hire an entry-level analyst again. And here's what I mean by that. Slide decks, data entry, facilitating the work. AI can do all of that instantly, accurately, and at almost no cost. The question is not if, it's live and existing today, right now. Here's what I'll say though. I went to the board, I did say these things, and I thought them at the time. There's a lot of young people in the audience, so let me just tell you about what I think the job environment is going towards. You guys are being liberated from data entry and slide decks and all this low-value drudgery. So it's not going to be drudgery. What you should be working on is your strategic depth, your ability to put things together, your critical thinking skills. That's the stuff that's going to be valued. Here's where I'm going to be drawn and quartered by the software engineers. I'm somewhat of a vibe coder at this point in time. There was just an explosion of ideas and productivity from this point in time. You know, as I sort of became comfortable with what the tool can do, now we just have an explosion. I started off, I wrote a Discord trade log bot in Python. That was the first thing I ever wrote. It's super janky, but it worked. I don't know Python. I then put together a 40 to 50 gig quant grade database. This is the sort of thing that you would need data scientists and the PhDs. You know, that's the sort of stuff that you would have to do. Claude walked me through it. Whenever you do a project, you're always sort of waiting for the wall to start pushing back, right? You go and go and go and go, and eventually you're going to hit the critical failure and your project stops. What I found with Claude, particularly with the quant grade database, the wall never pushed back. We could just keep going. 2 weeks after I built that, Ken Griffin, CEO of Citadel Securities, the largest market-making firm in the world, one of the top hedge funds, he said, all my guys are doing data science now. I have all these PhDs, and everyone from the top to the bottom of the organization is running data science. And that's where I realized, hey, AI can do that. Finally, automated portfolios and trading systems. We have those live. They are doing really amazing things. We are putting logic into the trade package that our human trading team cannot actually do. Things like trading at 9:33 in the morning every day with significant amounts of market analysis right before the trades go. And what I will tell you is, this is actually the first place where I'm talking about this. My firm doesn't even know this. June 30th, I launch our AI native portfolio design suite. And so what's happening is an AI native portfolio process is going live. We went from bread review to AI sitting inside the core of what we do in 16 months. And if you'll notice, what I've talked about is I've talked about building institutional capabilities at every step of the way. I'll give you an example as to what I have designs on. There is a market in the United States that is terminally underserved, that is not underserved in other parts of the world. The market I am speaking of is Muslim. Islamic finance is unfortunately very poorly developed in the United States. We have the capability to serve Islamic finance. So what I would tell you, if you look at the whole climb together, as the models rise, you rise with them. I didn't build any of these capabilities. I don't know half of what my Claude is doing at this point in time. But what I do know is I have committed to learning this tool and applying it in my business on a day-to-day basis. And as I do that, I find myself lift. For everyone in this room, if I were to give you some takeaways as to what this all means, you don't need to be technical. You just need to start. You pick one task, boring weekly thing that you dread. That's your daily leak. Whatever it is, I promise you Claude can automate it. You ask Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, maybe not Quen. You just ask in plain English, fix this for me. Do this. I want to do this. Can you do this for me? It can. It'll tell you how to do it. And then climb. Every month it gets stronger and smarter for free, and you get to ride it. Line is still going up. The only question that matters is how high will you climb with it?